Support for this podcast comes from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, connecting communities with the resources, infrastructure, and networks to ensure a vibrant local free press.
From KVPR in Fresno, this is Central Valley Daily. It's Tuesday, May 27th. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Today marks the start of the Scripps National Spelling Bee.
So it's building this framework of learning that is going to serve them well no matter what career they end up in.
And a Clovis 8th grader is among the hundreds of competitors this year. We'll learn more in just a moment.
The White House executive order targeting NPR and PBS is just one of several attacks underway on America's public radio and television stations. KVPR has served the Valley for 47 years, and we're not going anywhere. But we're going to need your help. With federal funding on the brink, your support is essential. Become a monthly member today at kvpr.org and stand up for public radio. You can make a difference.
And now to our main story. Today, hundreds of students are gathering in the Washington, D.C. area for a competition to be America's top speller. It's the opening day of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Among the 243 competitors is a Clovis 8th grader. KVPR's Samantha Rangel caught up with her and some other star spellers in Fresno County earlier this spring to learn about how spelling competitions can help shape young minds one word at a time.
On a warm spring afternoon, Caroline Van Garcy is on a bench outside a library in Clovis. The 8th grader is flipping through thick textbooks with her father.
You ready?
She's memorizing definitions, analyzing Greek and Latin roots, and spelling.
Copious.
Copious. C-O-P-I-O-U-S. Copious.
Correct.
Lots and lots of spelling.
Sumptuous.
S-U-M-P-T-U.
Munificent.
M-U-N-I.
Avarice.
A-V-E-R-U-S. Avarice.
No, A-V-A-R-I-C-E.
What?
She's studying for the Scripps National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. This past February, she won the Fresno County Spelling Bee. Preparing for the national competition has been demanding.
It's definitely a lot more like studying than I thought it was going to be. I quickly realized it's actually a lot more rigorous and time-consuming than I originally thought.
Halfway across town, outside a Fresno library, 5th grader Warren Lee is also studying with his 9-year-old twin brothers, Benji and Charlie.
Retinitis pigmentosa.
Retinitis pigmentosa. R-E-T-I-N.
Yes, they're just as cute as they sound. For Lee, studying became a full team effort.
I have my grandma, my mom, my little brothers, and my friends sometimes help me. And my tutor.
When I visited, Lee was studying for the state spelling bee that took place a few weeks ago. He didn't place. Neither did Van Garcy from Clovis, even though she gets to go to the national competition. But the skills they've learned will stick with them, like thinking on their feet and staying focused under pressure.
It's still a great way to learn public speaking during the competitions. You can learn lots of new words and vocabulary that you can use to your own good, I guess.
Paul Loeffler knows that firsthand. He's a sports broadcaster and former Valley spelling champion himself. He hosts the national TV broadcast of the Scripps Bee, and as Fresno County's so-called spell master, Loeffler reads words to students on stage. He gets to announce the winners going to the state and national spelling bees each year.
The best moments for me is when you have two spellers at the end who are just both so well prepared, they're not missing at all. And it just keeps going and going.
As a middle schooler in 1990, Loeffler won the Merced County Spelling Bee, then competed nationally. He tied for 13th place. What word ultimately stumped you? Do you remember that word at the national level?
Of course, the speller never forgets the word they missed.
It was stachyos, a sugar derived from artichokes. I didn't get it right either. But, like today's young spellers, he has also never forgotten the skills that he learned all those years ago. For instance, studying and repetition builds discipline. The word roots can help understand other languages.
So it's building this framework of learning that is going to serve them well no matter what career they end up in.
And despite the high stakes, Loeffler says the competition also teaches kids to support each other.
In the spelling bee, the kids celebrate each other's successes. They console each other when there's a miss. There's this camaraderie among the competitors that you don't see in a lot of other events.
Sinecure. Sinecure. Sinecure.
Correct.
Woo!
Nailed it.
Van Garcia of Clovis says she's excited for Scripps. And nervous, of course. But if you don't win, will this all have been a waste?
No, because I feel like I've definitely gained knowledge in general about this. It's useful information, you know?
Van Garcia hopes to be a lawyer one day. Lee, a computer scientist. And however they rank, what's important isn't just what they spell, but the words and worlds they'll build next. For KVPR News, I'm Samantha Rangel.
And Samantha joins me now to discuss her reporting a little further. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Liz.
So first, Sam, the Clovis student you profiled, Caroline Van Garcia, is competing in the Scripps National Spelling Bee, which starts today, actually. For those of us not familiar with the Scripps Bee, tell us a little bit about how it works.
Yeah, so the Scripps National Spelling Bee is a 3-day competition, and it's in the Washington, D.C. area. And I think over 243 students are competing this year from all over the country. So the spellmaster, essentially, will read the word to the speller one at a time, and they can ask for them, spellmaster, to repeat it, ask for the root words, or use it in a sentence, but they only get one chance to spell it, and if they get it wrong, there's no second chances. The judge will ring the bell, and they're out. And let me tell you, these words are really hard. Some of the winning words from the last few years, I believe, are samophile with a silent P, moorhen, and koinonia. Just crazy hard words. I mean, people can't pronounce them, let alone spell them.
I've never even heard of those words.
No, yeah. And I mean, it's super cool. It includes field trips and parties, kind of to build that camaraderie that I talked about in the story. You kind of just learn about Washington, D.C., get to know each other. It's really fun.
And how can students in our area get involved in spelling bees? How can they find out about them and compete?
Not all schools have spelling bees, so it's kind of just you have to ask and figure it out. Most of the counties in the Valley do. I know Fresno County does and Tulare County, but there's only 4 specific grades, so 7th and 8th graders can compete as well as 4th and 5th graders, and there's 2 different competitions for those age groups. Participating schools kind of have spelling bees within the school to find the winner, and they move on. So depending on which bee you're in, the top few winners will kind of advance to the next levels.
Okay, what's cool too is that you actually were a competitive speller when you were younger. So tell us what that experience was like for you.
I competed growing up in Firebaugh, so the really small town over there. We had spelling bees, I think, starting in kindergarten and 1st grade. And of course, I mean, as the grades go on, the words advance to more difficult words, and you start with the and or, and then you get to words like enthusiasm and all these really big words. So I studied for hours on end. It was with anyone and everyone I could find. My mom, my dad, my grandparents who only spoke Spanish. They're trying to articulate these words together. Aww. Even some friends when you start at the classroom level, go to school, the school level, and I made it to the Fresno County level, which was super cool in 4th grade. And, finding my friends during recess, I was like, hey, can you read these flashcards to me? Some of them didn't know how to pronounce it, so it was definitely a little bit difficult to kind of get the words I needed to get, but it was really fun. It was just super time consuming, and it got rigorous, obviously, as it continued.
Yeah, in your story, Paul Leffler said, a speller never forgets the word they misspelled. So I have to ask, which word disqualified you?
Enthusiasm. It was definitely, I don't even remember, I think what specific letter. I think it was the second S in enthusiasm, just kind of getting to the end. I was really nervous. I probably placed 23 in the Fresno Bee, but I've never spelled it wrong again. It's true. Once you mess it up, you're never going to do it again. That changed my life right there. So,
yeah, don't need spell check for that one.
Never.
So how can those of us in the Valley tune into what's happening at the Bee, and how can we learn how Caroline's faring out there?
Yeah, so the Bee will be streamed online, I think, on different platforms, but I think it's best if you go to the Scripps Spelling website. I think it's spellingbee.com. And you kind of just poke around on there. You can get to know some of the spellers, like Caroline. You get to know her favorite game, favorite songs. So I think it's really cool to kind of just familiarize yourself with who the competition is on there.
KVPR reporter Samantha Rangel, thanks for this fun reporting.
Thank you, Liz.
And before I let you go, Sam, I do want to mention that this is actually your first feature for KVPR, and we are really looking forward to your future stories.
Thank you. I'm excited.
And that's today's show. Have a story idea or feedback for Central Valley Daily? We would love to hear from you. Email podcast@kvpr.org. Today's episode was produced by Jonathan Linden and KVPR with support from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Find the latest local news anytime at kvpr.org.
Planet Money helps you understand the economy. We find the people at the center of the story.
Garbage in New York, that was like a controlled substance.
We show you how money influences everything.
Tell me what you like by telling me how you spend your money.
And we dig until we get answers.
I had a bad feeling you're going to bring that up.
Planet Money finds out. All you have to do is listen. The Planet Money Podcast from NPR.